We're going to check in with our party insiders on their take on the days that are left in this campaign as this election enters its endgame. Jordan, let's start with you. Berthier Massenange, with the MP from Vegas making a comeback potentially there.
She's great. Yeah, she's great. I love her. I think she's one of the best stories that we've had on the Hill for a long time. I mean, she's somebody who is a bartender, a single mom, and she, her election was absolutely not expected, but she put in the work, and she's really built a ton of ties in that community. She worked very hard to take senior roles within the NDP. And last election, she ran again, and she only lost by 1,000 votes. So if the vote splits break in her favor, it is very possible that Ruth Ellen will be back in Ottawa, and I think a lot of people would be pretty happy to see that.
So in the endgame phase that we're moving into now in this election, what they say and where they go are kind of linked together for the leaders. So I know he's trying to, jokingly saying he wants to grow in Quebec, but he's in British Columbia tonight, right? I mean, what do you expect to see from the NDP leader in the days that are left?
Yeah, I certainly expect to see him spending a lot of time in British Columbia, particularly in the Lower Mainland and on Vancouver Island. We see him in Ontario, likely Northern Ontario and Southwestern Ontario. And he is really going to be driving home the exact case that he made during the debate, which is don't give the Liberals a blank check. You want to make sure that there are New Democrats there to hold them to account, to make sure that they're delivering on the help that people need. And really focusing down in on that. Now, it's also going to be platform week, I think, for all the parties. So that will be another opportunity to use those documents to kind of illustrate those values. We're not this is not, I don't think, a big ideas campaign. This is a campaign where people are really looking at questions of values and leadership. So I would look for the platforms to really be vehicles for those things rather than super detailed, lengthy documents. Although, of course, Mr. Carney does have a lot of love for policy. He may surprise us with that tomorrow.
Yeah, it's good they all waited until after the debates for their costed detailed election platforms. That's quite a great move by all the leaders. Fred, what do you think Pierre Poilievre is going to be? Where is he going to be, and what's he going to be saying, do you think, over the next 10 days?
I think he's going to be going to those core ridings, the 905 around GTA. Northern Ontario is still important, and then there's Lower Mainland and BC. Those are the main areas that's the path to a majority government.
Offense or defense, do you think? Or
he needs to go on offense. It needs to be offense. At the same time, the base is fired up. Like he's got the support there. He just needs to drive that home and really just hammer that message that this needs to be a time for change. And I think that's what he needs to be able to do. Again, I would think he needs to tie it to Trump. The problem is the Liberals aren't even talking about Trump anymore. They've abandoned their own ballot question. So it's shifting potentially onto Poilievre's ground now, where he could really, really pound away on this. And I can tell you, the last 3 elections in the last week, there's been volatile movement from NDP to Liberals. And right now, the NDP are at such a low number, it is possible that if the Conservatives hit the right tone, and if the NDP do their job, it's possible that you can drive that Liberal to NDP for the first time back, which could allow the Conservatives to come up and win this thing.
So Greg, it's interesting as Carney goes into the last 10 days of this, I've been hearing from Liberals today that you're going to see a massive advertising spend in the final days of this, $7, $8, $9, $10 million, just aggressively hockey playoffs, all this sort of stuff, trying to make the closing argument. What do you think is going to happen, on the ground, and where's Mark Carney going to be?
So on the ground, you see where he is today, Niagara Falls. He's going to be in southwestern Ontario this weekend. So all of these are indications of where there are seats in play that haven't been in play for Liberals for a long time. And in the Liberal case, this is trying to add, as opposed to, for the opposition parties, in a lot of cases, it's about save the furniture. So where he goes, that means that they think that is a seat that they're going to be able to pick up. To Fred's point about Trump, the Liberals might not have been talking about Trump, but Trump was talking about us. And Canadians can't miss that. So I'm not sure if that's a factor. And then tomorrow, this is a distinction with a difference, but I think you might hear more about a plan as opposed to a platform. And I know that, that's a kind of subtle, but this is about what I will do as Prime Minister. Karina hit the points there. You've got the
Is it going to have the word catalyze in it? I think it's going to have the word catalyze in both official languages. Do you think?
I think it's a requirement.
Doesn't, it means he didn't write it.
Catalyzing Kearney? Is that the nickname?
A lot of syllables,
Yeah.
but the NDP are going to say it's about cutbacks, and the Conservatives are going to say it's about spending. Again, stuck in the middle. The other thing I would just note is there's a Conservative ad that I believe dropped yesterday, and it's two older gentlemen, I'm assuming of retirement age. They're both golfing, and they're talking about considering Carney and that they're not going to vote, they're going to vote Conservatives. That is a very odd ad to put out at the time of advanced polling. It is narrowcasting to the extreme. These are individuals, this is a demographic that Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party should have sewed up, senior men. So if at this point, this is where your new ad, and there's no Pierre Poilievre in that ad, and if this is what you're putting out this weekend, I think that is a strong indication of the Conservative fortunes.
So this is you and Fred on the links. Fred, are they trying to win? I'm joking. Are they trying to win back older men there, or increase margins with older men?
No, we don't have.
Look, at
Look, if you look at the demographics, the older people are voting Liberal. It's not about. I'm not sure what that meant. Like, it's about trying to win back in terms of this election. Have older Canadians, senior Canadians, have not voted Conservative for the last 3 elections. We've lost that demographic, and it's getting worse for us. So,
but men tend to vote.
we lose the senior demographic. The last 3 elections, there needs to be something thought out there on how we do it. But the Liberals have done very well on that. So.
Yeah, it sort of goes against conventional thinking that in this election, younger voters are probably going to vote more Conservative than their parents, right?
Yeah. The whole table is flipped.
So, Jordan, on that,
That comes with some challenges.
Go ahead,
I
Jordan.
was just say, it comes with some challenges, of course, because even if Poilievre is winning those younger male demographics by huge margins, they're also the trickiest demographic to turn out to vote. And that was a dynamic that was also at play in the Ontario election. So we have sort of some recent evidence on this. And I expect that what the Conservatives are trying to do there is to improve their numbers in some of the most reliable demographics for turnout.
Okay. We're going to leave it there and let Fred go vote. You know, we had to interrupt democracy to let him come in and do a bit of television. And Jordan, thank you for joining us on a holiday Friday as you're off spending time with your family. Jordan Likeness, Greg McEachern, and Fred Delory.